Hello everyone, Shinto Bean here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you something special that I created this past week. I had the idea to make a Skaven themed Magic the Gathering commander deck. And just a bit of background, I've been playing Skaven in Age of Sigmar since last year, about a year ago. What started out as just a couple of Stormfiend models very quickly morphed into something much grander, and now I just have a little bit of a rat infestation in my home, but it's been a lot of fun. And last year they released 4 Warhammer 40k themed Magic commander decks. And I purchased all 4, I've played a number of games with them, and they're all a lot of fun. And I just had the thought, what if they did the same thing with like Age of Sigmar or Warhammer Fantasy? I don't think they have any plans to do so, so I just went ahead and took the initiative and made a commander deck myself. So I used MTG Cardsmith. It's a website where you can create your own magic cards. For the card titles and the flavor text, I just took that from the Skaven Battle Tome. The artwork, I wish I could credit all of the artists who made all of this amazing artwork, because there's a lot of great stuff out there. But the rules for the cards, some of them are inspired or influenced by magic cards that are already in existence, but a lot of them are just completely original. So this is the breakdown of the deck that I created. It is black and red. Rats are usually black in Magic, and so I was thinking of just doing mono black at first, but then when I started making the cards I realized, well, red would also be good. It fits well with the Skaven technology and their spells and stuff. So this is where I ended up. So I'm just going to go through and talk about all these cards. Please let me know what you think in the comments as we go. But let's start with the commanders. In the 40k commander decks, there were 2 options for commander in each deck. So I've done the same thing here. We've got 2 legendary creatures. On the left is Thanquol and Bone Ripper, 6 mana for a 5/5. When it enters the battlefield, you mill 2 cards off the top of your library, but then put 1 in your hand, and then he can tap and exile a rat from your graveyard to deal damage equal to its mana cost to target player. So pretty powerful ability, especially if, say, you have old Vermin King in your graveyard, and then you can just deal 7 damage to an opponent. It's not commander damage, mind you, but still pretty powerful ability. Lord Screech Vermin King, on the other hand, is just a big brawler. 7 mana for a 7/7, and at the beginning of your upkeep, he just gains a random ability. And it just kind of, I think, captures the random chaotic essence of Skaven. Now, comboing with these legendaries, we've got the Staff of Rightful Supremacy, which is a mana rock, which when used to cast your commander, will give them a bit of a buff. The Storm Vermin can sacrifice itself to protect your commander, as they should be doing, as bodyguards. Then we've got all 4 Vermin Lords in this deck. These are all the biggest creatures you'll find in the deck. They're all 6/6s for 6 mana, and they each have a pretty powerful ability. The Warbringer buffs all of your rats, giving them more attack. The Deceiver can kill something when it comes into play. The Corruptor deals damage in the form of -1/-1 counters. And the Warp Seer allows you to scry 2 anytime one of your rats becomes a target of a spell or ability. We've got one other big boy, the Hell Pit Abomination, 6 mana for a 5/7 with Trample and Undying. And then Restore the Beast is a sorcery that combos very well with the Hell Pit or the Vermin Lords, just bringing a rat from your graveyard straight back to the battlefield. Foulhide is an equipment that also combos very well with them, essentially doubling their toughness. We've got 3 artifact vehicles. The Doom Wheel is the only one that can actually attack itself. The other 2, the Cannon and Catapult, can tap to do a pretty powerful ability, but it is one that does take a little time to set up because they do have summoning sickness. So you have to wait 1 turn, and then the Warp Lightning Cannon is a pretty fun one. It can deal between 1 and 6 damage, just a random amount of damage to any target and itself, so it has a 33% chance of just blowing itself up, but still can do a lot of damage in the process. We got some more powerful artifacts. The Plague Furnace can generate mana while also causing everyone to lose life. The Screaming Bell is one of my personal favorite creations here. It just does some completely random effect and it's probably not going to do what you expect or want it to do, but it's still useful unless you roll 1. You just don't want to roll 1. The Esoteric Warp Resonator is just a fancy version of the Voltaic Key, but combos very well with these two artifacts. We got a number of rats that can deal direct damage, so these can be quite powerful. The Bombardier combos well with artifacts. The Rattling Gunners can deal a lot of damage while also blowing themselves up. The Giselle team can snipe an attacking or blocking creature, but only once every other turn. We got a number of hordes with the Ravenous keyword. Now this is a keyword that actually was introduced in the 40k set. It is unique to the Tyrannid deck, but I thought it worked really well to kind of capture the concept of, having a big horde of creatures. So the more mana you spend when casting it, the bigger it will be. If you pay 5 or more, you get to draw a card when it enters the battlefield, and each of these has another different ability as well. We've got a fair bit of removal in the deck. You can just straight up murder something. We've got the Blade of Corruption giving a creature Death Touch. The Deathmaster has Death Touch, and it also can fight something when it comes into play, so it just basically kills whatever it fights. And then we've got the dreaded 13th spell, which destroys a creature, and then you get a number of 1/1 rat tokens equal to that creature's toughness. This is a rat deck, so we definitely need swarms of rat tokens. So we got the Horde Master, who can generate tokens slowly over time. We've got the Vermintide spell, which can bring a lot of rats into play at once, and you can flash it back again to cast it a second time. We've got the Diseased Choir, an enchantment that combos well with this, which causes all your opponents to lose a life every time a rat dies, and that the rat swarm just gets bigger depending on the number of rats you have in play. We've got some fun little spells here. Warp Lightning. This is actually kind of a reprint of another card. I forget which one it is, but I do like the random nature of it, where you just reveal the top card of your library and it deals that much damage equal to the mana cost. If it's a land, it does nothing, but then it just goes back to your hand. Warp Lightning Vortex is similar, except it does it with all of your opponents until they hit a non-land card, and it just deals that much damage. Dreaded Plague forces everyone to sacrifice half of their creatures, which can be pretty painful. And then Warp Gale just is defense against flying. This deck has nothing with flying or reach, so this is one of the only things that will be able to kill flyers. We do have some stuff that can remove artifacts and enchantments as well. Got the Master of Rotten Ruin, who does that by sacrificing rats. Rust-Cursed Armor can destroy equipment, specifically. And then we've got some pretty powerful draw power in here as well. Banner of the Horned Rat. This might be a little bit too strong, just allowing you to draw rats at the beginning of your turn if you pay a life. At the Gracier, you just draw a card while losing a life. Skaven Brew, draw 2 cards while sacrificing a rat, and then always 3 claw steps ahead. This will let you draw cards when you are being aggressive and attacking with a lot of creatures. We got a few creatures that can buff their attack power when attacking. So the Warp Fire Thrower, just based on the amount of open mana you have, can get stronger. The Storm Fiend gets stronger depending on the number of creatures that are blocking it. The Rat Ogre gets stronger if it is unblocked. We've got a number of other guys who can buff you in the combat phase. The Claw Lord has Battle Cry, so it increases the attack of your units when he himself attacks. The Packmaster can give another rat haste, though only on the turn after which it is played. The Rabid Crown can spice up one of your rats, and then Strength in Numbers can be very strong as long as you outnumber your opponents with the number of creatures on the field, which you can do pretty easily with some of those token spells. We do have a number of tutors as well. So the Warlock Engineer can bring a cheap artifact from your library into your hand. The Master Molder does the same thing with a rat. And then the Crafty Scavenger can bring an artifact back from your graveyard to your hand. We've also got some land fetching abilities. The Gutter Runner can find you a swamp. The Night Runners can also be cycled to get a swamp, and the Warp Grinder can actually prevent an opponent's land from untapping on their next turn. And then finally some oddball cards here. We got the Farskitter Cloak, which can make one of you guys unblockable, potentially very strong, perhaps maybe too strong with the Vermin Lord Commander. And then Bells of Doom, which is a lot better if you are playing with multiple players in the game. So that is it for all of the original cards that I created. I also just included a few standard mana rocks, which you want in a commander deck. We've got Mind Stone, Commander Sphere, Soul Ring, and Arcane Signet, which I threw some different art on to make it look more Skaven-y. I've also got the Seer's Lantern, Talisman of Indulgence, and Wayfarer's Bauble. So just some more mana rocks. And then we've got 5 non-basic lands in here, and then some cool looking mountains and swamps. And finally, it wouldn't be a rat deck with some beautiful little rat token cards. So that is it. This is a fully functional Skaven themed commander deck. So let me know what you think. If there's anything in here that you think is too busted. Again, I do want to test it out if I have a chance. But let me know if you can think of any other like Warhammer factions that would be good as a commander deck. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.